United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Kathy, roll please.
Carter. Here. Walter.
Yes, here.
Epperson.
Here.
Barstow.
Here.
Hampshire. Hicken.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Okay. We have a quorum present. The purpose tonight of this public hearing is to, we're going to discuss an amendment creating, establishing, and adopting Chapter 1296, which is the residential appearance standards of the codified ordinances of the city of Pataskala. And Scott, I believe you have a presentation for us.
I do, and as I mentioned previously, this is rather lengthy, and I had passed it out, I believe, maybe 2 meetings ago for council's review, so I'm happy to go through the presentation, or in the sake of time, would you much rather focus on questions? I'm open to either.
What is council's pleasure tonight? Mr. Epperson? Would you like some more presentation, or have you seen, or you're comfortable with it?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Carter?
I don't.
Okay. Mr. Hicken?
I'm good too.
Mr. Barstow?
Yeah, I think questions would be fine.
Okay, very good.
I concur.
Andy? Tommy?
Yep.
Thank you.
I don't know, for members present, is there a very fast synopsis of you, is that even possible?
It could be, but we start to get in the nuts and bolts of
Then let's
everything
just-
that
then forget I asked.
architectural terms and things of that nature.
Forget I asked them.
Any type of presentation before we launch into the questions, or you just want questions?
I think questions at this point might,
All right.
for the
Council?
sake of time.
Council questions?
Honestly, I've looked at the presentation, I don't have anything. I'm happy with what you guys came up with, what the committee came up with. I'm good to go.
Mr. Walter?
Scott, I just wondered, obviously these were modeled after Canal Winchester, their design standards.
Correct.
Have you been able to check back in with them to see, this has been probably 6-7 months ago we started this process?
Mm-hmm.
And I just wondered if you had a chance to maybe talk with them to see if they've had any feedback, any kind of items within their residential standards that they have wanted to reassess.
They have not, there has not been any development proposed in Canal Winchester that would be constructed under these standards. On your dais, there's a letter from the BIA expressing their concerns with the proposed standards. They had the same concerns with Canal Winchester's, but in speaking with representatives from Canal Winchester, there has been no proposed development under these standards.
Just to
ahead,
follow
Andy.
up on
You
that.
have the floor.
Do you think that is, and just your interpretation, does that mean to you that because of these standards they haven't had any development, or they just haven't had any development that have had the occasion to use these standards yet?
It's my understanding that they have existing subdivisions that are completing subsequent phases.
Okay.
So that's
So
the
they just
type of,
haven't had anybody that's had the occasion to use these yet?
that's my understanding, yes.
Understood, okay.
Anything else?
I'll hold.
Well, you got the floor
If
if you got
anybody
another
else wants-
question.
I had some specific questions to the BIA letter. And Scott, in looking at these, I know you said that these are the same questions they had to Canal Winchester. I guess the one that jumps out at me is the front-loaded garages and using the porch as their building line. In looking at that, I know when we first started talking about this, we had talked about where that, we have their setbacks, and then we have our building line. And, I think we adopted essentially what Canal Winchester had said, which was the porch was not included as your front house, as the front of the house, correct?
Correct.
And so that the building line starts, essentially, if you have a 4-foot wide porch, then your garage can't exceed past the porch. Is that your, kind of your recollection of the standards?
Correct. A front-load garage would need to be recessed a minimum of 4 feet from the front of the house. So essentially the wall with the front door, for sake of simplicity.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's all I wanted to point out. I just wanted to verify that that's what was still our direction.
Okay. Any other questions for council?
Sure. One of the comments from BIA was, involved the vinyl siding.
Mhm.
What they respectfully asked for .44. Do you happen to know why Canal didn't use .44?
I do not. That was what was in their standard, so that's what we adopted.
And then another question I would have is, I don't understand the water tables comment under 2.
So they're saying that the water table is the space between the foundation, and I think it's a foot above before siding, brick, stone, whatever the majority of the building material for the home would be. So currently, we say you need a door, or a gable vent, or I think it's a minimum 6-foot square window, and you need 1 per elevation. Their thought was that we could include the water table so that even if there's a window on the first floor, there may be nothing on the second. So they want that water table to count towards an architectural feature on each side of the home. So essentially, you could have a blank second-story wall in this instance, if water table were included.
Because of a 10 or 11 inch or 12 inch water table.
Correct, so they're saying, we would like its door, gable vent, window, we'd like water table included in that list.
Okay, any other odd feedback that you might have gotten from any other further reviews of the design standards themselves?
No, sir.
So from, where it come from, we sent it to, from here, did it go to?
It went to planning
Planning and
commission. The one question we had is, would this be applicable to the old village area? It would not. This would only be applicable to new homes constructed within major subdivisions or new homes constructed under these standards that are expanding or remodeling.
That's all my questions.
Anybody else have any questions? Yes, sir.
Mr. Fulton, if you know, did the BIA have the same objections to Canal's standards as they have in the letter that was sent to me?
That's my understanding. They were very similar.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else, council? Did you hear from Jude? Okay. All right. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you, council, for your questions. We'll move on to, somebody say something?
Point of order, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
We have, oh, never mind, sorry.
We'll move on to public comments. Anybody wish to speak about this topic in particular? All right, very good. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Barstow.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Hicken. Discussion and roll. When you're ready.
Carter? Yes. Walther?
Yes?
Epperson?
Yes.
Barstow?
Yes.
Hicken?
Yes?
Lee?
Yes.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Our next council public hearing will be at 5:45.